I guess knowing yourself is a journey, and I think every time in every situation you discover an aspect of yourself, or your journey does not need to stop because something has not happened. But one day I realized that
Welcome to Knowing Who You Are, everyone who's watching. A little bit of housekeeping before we start or get into the podcast. You can watch us on YouTube. You could catch all the new episodes, and every week we try to bring out our episodes. And also, you can listen to the podcast on the go on Amazon Music and also on iTunes and Spotify. So we have today an amazing guest in her own right. She is very dedicated to her craft. She's an amazing musician. She's been training for a long time. And as we say that in music or any form of art, perfection is always an illusion. So she had been trying to hone her craft, and she had been working towards her goal and the vision for many years. And we can see the result. She is very renowned, amazing performer, a recording artist, and she had a few albums to her credit. More than that, she is such a dedicated musician, such a dedicated artist, and the talent and the skill she had honed, which is something that we want to talk about today, the struggles and how she had discovered, because the show is about knowing who you are. So we'd like to know how she discovered herself, because what shapes us, I understand, that is a struggle that we face in our lives, and that's how we discover ourselves, and that's how we come to know who we truly are. So we'd like to discuss with our guest today, who's none other than Srijani Ghosh from Sydney, Australia. She had already been with me on one of my shows, In Harmony with Esha, which was last year. But this year she is joining in the podcast series because I felt, along with the rest of the guests we have in the podcast series so far, she would be important addition, a significant addition to the list of amazing people whom I had the opportunity of discussing a lot of different aspects of their lives, and through which I wanted to share with you some of the ways and some of the information and some of the different means to understand our self-worth and our value, and also who we truly are. So in this discovery today, in the podcast series Knowing Who You Are, we have Srijani Ghosh. Please welcome Srijani Ghosh from Sydney, Australia. Hi, Srijani. Welcome to Knowing Who You Are. I hope you're having a great time today. And it's really been a pleasant surprise, I would say, to have you suddenly, because we have had this show last year, probably during the COVID. We had In Harmony with Esha. You were with us. And I had a tremendous conversation with you, being an artist of your caliber and the dedication you have to artistry. So the first question that comes to mind, since the show is called Knowing Who You Are, do you feel that it's possible to know yourself truly, or have you been able to know yourself? Or where are you in that journey of discovering yourself, knowing yourself?
I guess knowing yourself is a journey, and I think every time in every situation you discover an aspect of yourself, a new dimension that opens up with a new situation. But I think the one thing that I have figured out is that I'm a student and I'm in a journey to learn so much. And in every situation that comes in our life, I'm still learning. So the one thing that I can conclude is that I'm a student still.
When do you think that turning point for you, or when you started this journey? Because sometimes what happens normally, if you look around, it's all about how many subscribers you have, how popular we are. It's not about what you're doing, what your service is, what the significance of what you're doing. It's more about how popular you are. So when you realize that it's beyond anything else, it's about the purpose that you have found through your music, I feel like, because you're so dedicated. So at what point of your life did you realize that, okay, I have found a purpose, or I know this should be my journey, or that's when you started your journey?
Very, very good question. I think this question should be asked to a lot of people, and probably a lot of people who are in the showbiz It's a very important question that you have asked, because the time that we are in, there is a very different inference in between the quality and the quantity. So we have evolved from a time of quality, like, so there was a time this that any movie which was doing like a silver jubilee or a golden jubilee or whatever, that's what we used to follow. That has completely and now transformed into how many views we have per video. So that has
Exactly.
been a very very steep transformation that we have had. But coming to the question that you have asked me, what I have realized is that from the very beginning, because I have been born and brought up in a very classical music diet, music was always for yourself first.
Okay.
And I have somehow it has been fed to me that talent and fame and popularity, they are very different aspects. So if
Very well
fame
said.
falls behind, talent does not need to be compromised. That's what I have learned. Or your journey does not need to stop because something has not happened. So so something may not happen is what I have been always tuned into. So that's what I think has helped me, because it has helped me to work on frustrations, especially as you would probably understand, like artists or music aspirants or creative aspirants like you or me who are based overseas. The scope for us to be in the right place at the right time is almost slim,
Yeah. Very
because
true.
where the things happen, we are actually geographically very far away
Yeah.
from the places of happening. So in that way, if we give that not happening more into perspective, then what we can do takes a backseat. I have always understood that it is about moving on and accepting limitations, working through them, and just doing what you can do. And if something is meant to happen to you, it will happen when the time is right.
But you're totally resonating with the idea of this podcast series. And it's very well said, very beautifully explained as well. But has it been instilled in you through someone, say your teacher or your music guru? How did you come to know about this one? At what age do you exactly? Do you feel that there was a turning point in your life?
Both my gurujis, they are very talented and they're very famous in their own perspective, but I have never seen them chasing the fame, but the fame rather coming to them. Whereas I have seen, like, say, for example, Parthasarathi Desikan. He is the son-in-law of Pandita Chakravarti, the husband of Kaushiki Chakravarti. So imagine the periphery he is in,
Yeah,
which is so star-studded. But
exactly.
I have seen that he's so engrossed in what he does. His art is so much beyond all this thing that happens around him. That is a turning point for me, because when I learn from them, when I seek guidance from them, I see that the art is the most dominant factor in what they do.
Is that
So
philosophy without knowing they subconsciously discovered it themselves at some point, probably?
yes, yes. Even for Gautam Ghosal, I take vocal trainings
But
from him too. He always, I think he is the biggest turning point in 2014. So coming pretty much back to the question that you have asked, that music played the most important role for me as a healing component when I came to meet with Gautam Ghosal.
I mean, what did you see in him or in his methodology or something? I mean, what made you feel like that for Gautam
Okay,
Ghoshal?
so for Gautam is very famous in Bengal. And he gets so many offers all around the world to come and teach and to perform and all. But he told me one thing, that you got to decide one thing, whether you want to become an artist or you want to become a star. Because stardom can be temporary, momentary, but
Exactly.
artistry will remain with you. If you are
Mm,
an artist, you will always be an artist. You may
beautiful.
be a star today, tomorrow you may not be. Tomorrow
But
someone may take your position, may take the spot that you have achieved. But if you're an artist, if you're born as an artist, you live as an artist, and you die as an artist, that still remains to be a part of you. So when he said all these things to me,
mhm.
that was the turning point, because Of course, look, I understand that from where I come, or from being so far away from all the land of activities in the field of Indian or subcontinental music, that all happens, obviously happens it in the country, and London still may be a more beneficial place to crack.
Kind of, you
Uh,
say, yeah, definitely.
Sydney is a very hard place from where you can actually crack anything
Mm.
in any of those dominant areas where there are so many artists around. So that, I think, was a big turning point. So when I went to learn from him, he transformed this from a hobby to a passion, and then to an expression. So when it becomes an expression, it remains to be your expression, whether you're making anything out of it or not out of it.
Beautiful.
Gautam I started learning from 2014. With Parthoda, it has been last 3 years that I'm learning from him. But even before that, I come from Bardhaman. Bardhaman is a very small town.
Okay.
Yes, and my first Guruji was Pandit Dhrubatara Joshiji, who passed away after a few months. I started learning from him.
Oh,
But even for him, so if you ever come to Bardhaman, you will see that we have like a science center named after him. But he was a very simple living man. So he left behind his artistry, his legacy.
yeah.
And stardom was not something that was dominant. It was like a coexisting factor. And even it would not have existed, nothing would have changed in his life.
Beautiful. I mean, so it's about enjoying that journey. Once you know the value, and once you have started enjoying this journey, because if you had start taking this pressure of this competition, because as you mentioned that there will always be someone who might be better than you, who might take away that place that you feel so insecure about. Okay, I'm a star. What happens? I'm number one. Tomorrow if I become number two. And there's someone always who's better than us in some other respect, because you probably as a singer there's something that you really can do or express very well, but there's someone else who can do something, they have another stronger point which you don't have, which
Sure.
as a musician I feel that I don't have. So these are the things we have to accept, and I feel that you have been explaining it in such lucid language for people who are listening to it or who are watching you as well, that this journey you made it so clear, that this journey of self-discovery, and you discover your purpose, your meaning, or your vision, or the goal you are on and what you want to achieve through enjoying the whole journey. It's not about the destination where you're going, or but once you have this journey and you're true to it, at some point you'll reach there. Or even if you don't feel that, because I think as an artist you can resonate with this one, that you never feel that you have reached that. There's no perfection, it's an illusion. I feel that. I mean, you definitely would agree with me. But as your
I
teacher,
do.
yeah, Dhruvatara Joshiji, I mean, you mentioned his name. But look, I mean, there are places named after him, but he never thought that this is what his goal was. His goal was just to do his music.
Absolutely.
Beautiful.
Absolutely.
So,
And so many people are anyways chasing stardom. The crowd is there. So it's very congested. So if you rather pursue the art, maybe you are in a better place
I mean, it's
anyway.
even harder now in the age of this social media exposure. You can have like today, we are so privileged that you are in Sydney, Australia. I'm in London. I mean, a few years back, it wasn't. We couldn't even think that I could have sat down with another musician and talk about this, have this conversation. But now we can
Totally.
have this. So people, anyone can just turn on the Facebook and do a live and start singing or do something, or there's some way. I mean, when, say, for example, Srijani is singing, and there's someone who's making a video just doing reactions on your singing, and that's how they're becoming popular.
True that. True that.
But you're the one who've been practicing for the last 20 years, 30 years, but that person probably will have more likes, subscribers, just showing some reactions to how you sing or what you do. So
True that.
it's an interesting world we live in. So
It is.
do you sometimes feel that, because we talk about, one of my guests mentioned in one of the podcasts, that there are a lot of negative voices we have in our mind. I mean, all the time, every now and then, which is always telling us, despite that you have a very clear vision, you're very the clarity of vision you have in terms of your journey. But do you still sometimes feel that someone is telling you, whatever you have done, Srijani, it's not enough. You should have done this. You haven't done that. You haven't reached there. Do you face that sometimes?
I do. There is, it will be extremely stupid of me not to accept that. But I do face that sometimes because I see a lot of people doing a lot of things. But look, the thing is that things can affect you. Everything has a reaction. But for how long is where the wisdom comes through. To come to your question, it does affect me. I think it's just a part of being human being. But for how long is what it is.
Yeah.
So when it starts getting onto me or catching up to me, that's when the resilience come through. That, okay, this is where I'll have to understand that this is where I'll have to stop it and now focus on the bigger picture. And that bigger picture has got nothing to do with anyone else who is going to do something or anything over there. It's the bigger picture of myself, my growth with the art. So, but coming to the social media platform that you have just mentioned a couple of minutes back, social media is very good because a lot of artists do get a platform.
Yeah.
But I may be sounding extremely politically incorrect, but I would like to say that you can edit it later on if you want to. But I would say that it's unfortunate the smartphones are in the hands of a lot of unsmart people. The judgment with the art has become extremely compromised at some point in time. So we live now in an age where fame has got nothing to do with talent.
Yeah. Very true.
Talent and fame has become two very different sections. So there is one side where people are very talented, but they do not get the adequate fame or exposure. And then there are people who are incredibly not talented, but incredibly famous.
Or sometimes I feel like, the smartphones are in the hands of smarter people. Because the thing is, if you look at it, the people who are dedicated to their craft, they're spending all the time and, half of their life or probably whole of their life. But they don't realize these people, they're coming within a year or 2 years, they're up there. So I think on some level, they're smarter probably. What do you think?
No, it's no. I do somewhere disagree with you. Please accept my apologies.
No, sir, that's fine. This is what the discussion is
but
about.
that is what I'm saying. That if you look at the unsmart, if you look at those people, what you think is a smarter version of getting famous or all, who are the subscribers? Who are those people? So you have 100 listeners, but who are those 100 people? And then there is someone who has got 10 listeners. Who are those 10 people?
Because I was playing the devil's advocate, rather. So you can share this opinion that you have about, and that's very true. When I'm saying smarter, with all due respect to these people, whatever they have achieved. But the thing is that when you are just single-mindedly just working towards a vision, and probably you don't have the time to think about all the other peripheral things that you need to do to get that 1 million subscriber, 11 million views of a song or whatever. You are just happy, or you're checking if I'm better than yesterday. The performance I had, or how I sang yesterday, or something I recorded last year, if I'm better this year. Something that I couldn't do yesterday, can I do it today? And you feel that, okay, every step, it's a signpost, and you can say, you look back, you say, okay, this is when I achieved that, this is when I achieved that. Because I remember when I started singing, that was in my high school days, and there was one of my teachers who said, okay, your range should be up to that point. And there's someone else, then another teacher, I was very blessed to have learned from him. And he started saying that, look, don't limit yourself with these ideas that your voice would be limited to this range or anything. You go ahead, you try. Sometimes we feel that it's not enough. What we are doing is not enough. Where we are now at any point of our life is not enough. So this negativity, as you say, so how do you deal with this one? Just being true to your art, or just shutting out all those negative voices in your head? How do you do that?
The negative voices, yes, no, I would not say that it's easy to shut them off, because it's just, no matter how much superhuman you want to become in your life, the life still reminds you that you're a very normal human being, putting you into situations.
Very true.
that you're nothing but a very normal human being. But having said that, I just don't take those negativities to come into me. I
Mm.
observe, I observe and I accept and I move on, because there is nothing you can do. So the moment you react, then you're giving the control to someone else. So that's my way of overcoming this,
It's the
um,
authenticity. Yeah.
the authenticity, that you may have 1,000 people listening to you. Out of them, I don't know how much you have bought,
Mm.
but these 10 people who are listening to me, they're listening to me. It's very organic.
That's
And that's
very.
what it matters, right?
So when you wake up in the morning, say, what's your ritual? What are the things that you normally go for? What are the thoughts that comes to your mind when you say when you wake up, or even when you go to bed? What's the last thing, or what's the first thing of the day that you suddenly wake up to, or you think about?
I think so many things. It will take you at least 10 episodes to cover them. But the last thought of my day is how obviously my day have been. And I try to practice gratitude for whatever my day has been like, because sometimes we get really caught up with the 10% that we don't have in life.
Yeah.
But, and then we miss out on the 90% that we actually have. So I try to think, but I'm only talking like a superhuman being, but trust me, when it comes to
No, I mean
myself.
it comes from the practice. Once you take, at least you when you say this thing, so definitely you're mindful about this practice. So it
Yes,
has an effect. And I know that, but at some point on a subconscious level, once you keep on practicing or you stay in this path, at some point you see the transition, that the transformation happens when you don't have to consciously think that, okay, I have to shut off this voice, these negative voices. I have to be thankful to whatever I have in my life. Things just happen automatically and nothing touches
it
you.
does. It does, because I believe in I believe in keeping yourself in the right vibration, which is very hard, especially of course because of the situation that you're going in. London is obviously in a much better place
We
than
are
we
now,
are in
thankfully.
Australia.
Yeah.
Yes, you guys are really blessed, because sometimes it really feels like we are caught up in some island. It feels like a jail.
What's it
But
like now?
getting
Is it still quite bad in Australia?
Look, it is not bad if we look at the numbers, if we look
Mm.
at the people infected, but it's how the approach towards it has been. It's very harsh. So imagine, like, I'm a single mom, and
Hmm.
I don't always have my son with me, so because he's with his father, sometimes as
Yeah.
well. So being stuck in an apartment without being able to talk to anyone, to interact to anyone, you're just confined in one place, and you
But
have no
again, as an
choice but
artist, we are so blessed as well. I feel sometimes that we have something that we can just spend hours on end if we want,
exactly.
if the time permits.
It does. So it was catching up with me, and then I'm like, hang on a second, okay, let me look into what is it good about this time. So I realized that I will never get this luxury of time in my life. So once full-time job comes into place, and I will not have this luxury of working from home, so where I'm just logging in and
Hmm.
just making my coffee at the same time, it may not happen again.
Exactly.
So I have a luxury of time, and I will never get the time like this to read books that I have never been able to read. I will never be able to do as much as Riyaz that I wanted to do. And then I'm like, what, you know what? This is the time I'll actually never get any more probably in my life in a few months' time. So let me make the best out of it. So
Or
let me
probably
do
this
more
is the
reading.
beginning as well. The thing is that many people's perspective towards life has changed in the last 1.5 years or in 2020, 2021, because they have started thinking about life. And as they say in America as well, people are not really, normally you should think that more people should be applying for jobs now, and because the lockdown has been lifted and the financial situation, given the situation they had been, but job openings are there, but people are not applying that much because they are thinking about life in a different way. I mean, as millennials, they were, because we had this idea, say for example, Generation X, and even the generation before that, they were thinking, okay, your life is you get a job, you get a degree, you get a job, 9 to 5, and that's all. And then you retire, you raise your child. But in the meantime, what your life is all about. I mean, I always used to think, even But I remember from my childhood days, I used to think about this pattern of life. To be honest, it sounds a bit precocious that how come someone at the age of probably 15 or 16 would be thinking that this was one of the questions I already always
Yeah.
had. Probably as a
Mm.
mother, you can shed light on that one. I used to think, okay, there's someone we bring to this world, become a parent, we raise them, and at some point they leave us. But in the meantime, we probably, because the amount of time and the dedication you need towards a child, that we stop doing many of the things we are supposed to do. How do you look at this one? I mean, I still sometimes feel that, okay, if people, everyone is to start thinking like this, like I'm doing, then the human race would be extinct. I understand. But the thing is, as a human being, when we have so much to do and so much to think about, how do you place that? I mean, because sometimes you feel that it's just a pattern we follow.
It's a role you play.
It's a role you play.
It's a role you play, because so even in all of our lives we play different characters. So you play probably a role of a son, or you're playing a role of a host. You're
Mm-hmm.
so or sometimes you just do what needs to be done at that very particular point of time, because that's the job that you're assigned to.
You are assigned to, or sometimes we just take it upon ourselves, because brings me to the questions like, how do we stop letting people's opinion define our choices in life? Because normally you grow up, everyone is like, okay, say for example, someone gets married, and the first question it comes within a year or two, okay, so when are you having your
Having a
first child,
child.
right? So these are the things, the opinions, and if people don't have that journey, they feel like, oh my God, we are inadequate. So how do you look at it? Is it always that? Is it a choice that we make, or is it a choice that we are compelled to make? What do you think of that?
It is a bit of both. Sometimes the society, because we can never take away, so some things in our upbringing is so strongly instilled in us from our very childhood, that whether you like it or not, it has become a part of you in your oblivion.
Mm,
So you just go in that flow, because in some in you're programmed that way, that you'll have to get married, you'll have to have a child, and when you have a child, there are certain responsibilities. If you're a wife, you have certain responsibilities. If you're a father, you have certain responsibilities. So these are something we're assigned. Yes, it is a choice of both, I would say. Some is obviously, it's a you're compelled to do it. Some you do out of passion. But the thing, how I see it, that especially being a mother,
yeah.
it has happened to me in a choice. So
Okay.
I have become a mother as a choice. So if I have invited something as a choice in my life, I will have to take the responsibilities for the choice that I have made.
That brings me to the thing that we have this upbringing and it's been programmed in us. So
Yes.
since we are so programmed that this acceptability in the society, or there are certain things, how your life should be like, and that brings us to how we should portray ourselves on social media, what we should achieve in life, what kind of job we should be having, and what kind of car or house we should be having. So, don't you think that this programming sometimes clashes when you want to practice mindfulness and just
It
being your own
does.
person?
It does. And especially, I'm very happy that you are bringing up all these things that needs to be discussed, because everyone uses social media, but they do not sit down and introspect that what are they using it for. The questions that you're asking is something that you're actually triggering people to sit down and introspect. These all these LinkedIn profiles, the social media is a place where you can actually kill people virtually.
True. I mean, because the pressure that you're taking on, and also because every now and then, this is a very ugly truth, I would say. At this point, I would bring many people can resonate. Because every now and then, you see people with their beautiful pictures of the family and the children and everything in social media. But behind the scene, there's a total different story.
Absolutely.
And when the same people you're looking at, I mean, I have experienced it myself. I've seen people, I mean, the stories that's been shared with me, this is from my personal experience, that one day you see this beautiful picture of these people, the next day, the same person is telling you a totally different version of this family life. So then you start asking the question, what is true? than what we are, what our true identity is, and where we are in life. So this is why I felt the need that we should have the discussion more. And especially, Srijani, I have to thank you so far. This is, trust me, a very gratifying experience in a sense that you have been shedding light on every aspect of where I want to have this conversation, or where I want this conversation to go. You have been touching up on a lot of different aspects. Just to divert a little bit, since you are such a, I would say, a consummate musician, it's a very dedicated one. You would deny, you would say that, Eshad, no, I'm still on a journey. I understand we all are in a journey. But I would ask you that at what point do you feel, did you feel that music has a healing effect on you? Or did you ever feel that you felt
Yeah, I
that
do.
this is one thing I have to do in life, truly?
I do. I do. Trust me, Arshad. Even I think music is healing for me in many aspects. I'll tell you, first of all, obviously at a very personal level, because for a musician, for any artist as such, not just as a musician, you will see when someone is very engrossed in the art that they pursue. So if someone is painting, or if someone is singing, or if someone is doing any sort of thing, you would see that their emotions become so relevant or directly inclined with the art that, say for example, when I'm very sad, I don't know, I can't cry. The first reaction that I get is I sit down with my tanpura or with my harmonium. When
Beautiful.
I'm very happy, I seek um I seek my rescue in harmonium or in tanpura when I'm happy. So all my emotions are very connected with the musical expression.
Mm.
So I think it's the same thing with if someone is painting something, when an artist is very happy, that person is probably going to portray something like a very beautiful, a springy picture. And then when the artist is going through a very dull mode of life, he might just draw a night full of stars and no moon there. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that's what I think. And that's the process of healing, because music becomes a medium for you to
Hmm.
connect with you and yourself, and making peace with it. Because the moment you make peace with whatever good and bad you have, that's when the healing happens. That's what I believe. Because the moment we are in, if we are in conflict with whatever is happening, sometimes a very strange nature that I have, and I guess it's only human.
Hmm.
um, when something very good happens with me, when things happening with me in series of good, I'm like, why everything is falling in place for me like this?
Mm.
So I'm again in conflict with the good thing that that
Does
is
it scare
happening in my
you that, okay, everything is so good, is any something bad's gonna happen? Do you ever feel like that?
eyes. I feel it, and guess what happens? I manifest the bad the very next moment. And I'm like, oh my God. Because worrying is like praying for something that you don't want to happen to you. And when a lot of good things happen, like, oh my God, was so perfect. This just happened. I didn't even work hard for it enough. I was not even expecting. What's wrong? And then the wrong is like, hey, I'm just here. Just open the door.
It's so true with every human, probably, that we can't enjoy the present. Like, if you are happy at this moment, this is the reality. So you are just imagining something that's going to happen because you're so happy. It can't be true. So probably something else going to happen, but which is not there yet. So this is how we
Yes.
ruin our own happiness, or the present. We can't even enjoy that because based on that, you are creating your future, or
Yeah.
whatever you had done that has created
Yeah.
this present for you as well. But the thing is that main reality is that as we are talking now, this is what the reality is. And after the
Yeah.
say, after we are recording this conversation, but probably just in case, if the recording gets lost, and if I'm talking to you, I'm like, it is so amazing, this conversation. What if it gets lost and there's something happens
And
to
then
me?
it may eventually get lost.
Yeah.
But you know what, Esha? I will not blame you or me for this. In Bengali families, or in every family, you
Hmm.
probably would have been brought up with this fact of kharaptai age bhabte hobe. I'm sure you have come across this.
Hmm.
That kharapta age bhabte hobe. So we have been programmed to think about the bad before.
Very well
So
said.
this is something, it has become a
Yeah,
part of
get
our
yourself ready
system.
for the negative things, that always, so you won't be disappointed if you're always prepared. But the thing is that in doing so, things are passing by. and you don't even get to see the beauty of it because you're letting it pass, and you're
Yeah.
okay because I'm getting ready for the negative things. Okay, whatever is happening, let it go, but what's
Yeah.
coming, I'm worried about that and I'm ready for that. But we think that we are getting stronger like that, but unfortunately
No,
we
we're not. We're clearly not. Because I have personally like experienced it in my life when a lot of good things happen, but my concentration is on the lack. And then the lack comes quicker to me
Mhm.
because I am ignoring all I have, and my concentration is what I don't have.
Exactly, beautiful.
So that manifests faster than what I actually want because
That's
my
why
focus
your
is not on
practice
what.
of gratitude, as you said, which you do,
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
really comes in play. So, is there any kind of paradox in your life that sometimes makes you feel uncomfortable? That you
Oh,
feel
every
that
time.
it is?
Here we go. So yeah, lots of the time there's so many things uncomfortable. I will share with you something very
Mm-hmm.
personal, which is the zone of discomfort or uncomfort, whatever you say, is that a lot of opportunities in my life in terms of music and career has come through. So
Mm-hmm.
they were this close, like on my hands, and they haven't come to my mouth because of the people I live with or I have around me. I felt that I did not have the support. So that made me feel very uncomfortable. So it was frustrating at some point in time that I was so almost close to like sign many offers in my life,
Mm-hmm.
but I couldn't pursue them because I I give importance to many other things in my life. But one day I realized that I am actually giving into the things that are not meant for me. So
Mm-hmm.
I will have to fight this in a way. I will have to make, first of all, I'll have to make peace with whatever I have lost. But moving forward, if there is something that is coming my way, I will have to take the ownership. And if I believe that I deserve it, then I'll have to go for it. And I will have to understand that people who are not in alignment with my thoughts or my aspirations, it's up to them. It's not my journey to fix them and bring in alignment with me.
Exactly. That's very true. So, do you
So
have any regrets like that? Do you still have them? Definitely, those things that passed you by. Do you still miss out on this missed opportunities? Do you feel? Do you have any regrets for those?
I do have regrets because they were amazing opportunities, like, for opportunities for which people wait for years. And
Mm.
they happened to me, but I couldn't take them. So you can imagine, so something you actually dreamed of, it's like right in front of you. So all the eggs are in your basket. But you can't take that basket home and you'll have to leave that basket there on the table.
How do you deal with
It's not
that? Those regrets whenever they come to you at the moment. How do you, when you look back, that what could have
frustrated
been?
me like anything because even the people offering me those, they were like, do you even understand what we're giving you? And you're saying that you have a mortgage to pay, you have the son to raise, and you have a family to look after. Do you understand that 20,000 or 20 million people probably is fighting for this, and it's right in front of you? And imagine how embarrassing it is for me to tell them that, sir, I do understand, but I can't take it.
Mm.
So it was very frustrating. But then I realized that one thing, that whether that opportunities came to me for what? They came to me for the art. So
Exactly.
what ruled me is the art. So if the art is intact, maybe such opportunities will again come.
Mm-hmm.
So I understood that if I will have to look at it from the perspective of these opportunities did make me realize my potential.
That as an artist, there is always a thing called the prime when they're at their peak, but after that, there's always a slump that starts. Even whatever we do, it would happen to any great artist that have. So,
Yeah.
but how do you deal with this? Do you feel that okay, when I had that, I was probably that was the best time for me, but it might come. Would I be able to deliver on the same level? Do you ever feel like that?
Yeah, I will be able to. I wouldn't say I have reached my prime as of yet,
Okay.
because I don't think the prime has come to me yet, because I think that I have got a lot more to do in life.
Mm.
Not in the terms of fame or in stardom or anything, but in terms of good work.
Yeah,
I
your
think
craft.
my prime is yet to come based on the art that I pursue. But yes, and I am aware that no matter whatever peak, so the highest I climb, the downfall will be that steep as well. So, but I think I am on the journey. But I do believe that if I'm consistent and if I believe in this art, something good should come my way. And if
Mhm.
nothing, my inner growth with the art will actually only amplify with time.
Exactly. That's really a very beautiful thing to say. So, in that respect, if you have to advise, say, an upcoming artist, I mean, you see someone who's growing now, who's probably at the age of 15 or 16, you have been through it. What advice would you give them?
There is nothing to regret, because look, these days fame has become so compromised that it will be only wise if you don't run after it. Say, for I don't want to name anyone, but there are so many people who have got like 50 million follower, but when we listen to that person, we know that this person is using auto tuning. This person has got no worth, no credibility to judge talents. This person is only it's like a big hoax that's been created, because everything these days runs after TRP. So
Exactly.
everything is TRP based. So you got to understand, what are you pursuing, the TRP or the art? And the moment you choose art, you're at much peace, because that will not leave you, because TRP will keep on changing with people, they come and go. But art will be consistent with you. So the more consistent things you choose in your life, the more sanity you can have.
Because it's a very interesting thing that reminds me. Many years ago, I mean, even when I started singing, I still remember I used to pick out the songs which are the hardest, and I wasn't even ready for those songs, say Nozrul Giti. And I would watch at that time Doordarshan, Didi Bangla. So I would listen to all those amazing Nozrul Gitis and I would bring it. I said, I want to learn this song. I want to learn that song. And my guru would say, you're not even ready for this. Where are you picking
Yeah,
this one from? And you go somewhere because you are singing. So people would ask you all the popular numbers that you have to perform. My
yeah,
problem had always been I would just sing for myself. Okay, this song
yeah,
I like, and I'll just sing that song. And they would ask me, do you know this song? I said, no, I have to disappoint you. And this is what had been my story. And after that, many shows I've been to, they would be like, okay, Esha, do you have a CD? Do you have an album? I said, no. Because I feel that I'm enjoying the journey. As I said, I just love doing the music. And definitely, I've done live shows, TV shows. I had my band as well in England. But I was doing it in my own way to a certain extent. Whenever I felt that I'm just following the trend that's going, it was in me that I felt that no, I'm not being true to myself. I would always
no.
stop that. I would just go for another direction. And have you been through anything like that in your life, that when you had been pressurized by people around you that,
Oh,
look,
yes. Many times. There was this song, I'm going to say this, I know it, like, this might not be the right thing to say, but there was this song, because it's so, like, I really want to say this. So there was this song called Palkite Bou Chole Jay. So there was this song which was very, very famous when I was in my teens, and I was doing shows all over in Bengal and going everywhere and singing. And there were certain show places, like certain shows, where the organizers would come to me. Say, for example, I'm singing Oruno Kanti Kego Jogi Bhikhari.
mm-hmm,
And after that, maybe I'm singing a Shipra Basu song, like anything,
thumri,
Bini Shudra Nathamala, or something like all those classics,
mm.
or all those difficult songs. And then sometimes, like, can you sing Palkite Bochula? I'm like, what?
Have you ever
And they go,
listened? I mean, what I was doing all this time, and how can you make this request to me? It's an insult, isn't it?
that
Almost.
request to me. And even co-musicians with me who I know have come from very strong backgrounds. They're like, yeah, you can sing that song. Like, it's coming from you. Like, hang on a minute.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm like, why? Why will I have to sing this song? And because people at the back, they want to dance.
Oh my God. I mean, you have really touched that raw nerve. I mean, especially when we always go through these kind of situations. So now, is there any song that always inspire you whenever you're feeling down, and whenever everything that we have discussed. There are a lot of pressure, as we can see. Every human has to go through, and especially artists. I feel that they have a different world of their own. So sometimes, probably the stress they have to go through, it's on a different level at some point, which normally people don't get it even. Because for you, if someone sings out of pitch, it hurts you, especially that frequency really makes you feel uncomfortable. So we get hurt on a different level. So is there any song that uplifts you anytime your spirit, you feel that, okay, this is what I need, and you sing or you listen?
Yes, I do. I think being a Bengali, you and me, we all resonate with Rabindranath Tagore a lot. But if you look at the philosophy and spirituality, Rabindranath does resonate with both of us.
Mm-hmm.
So there is one song we both were talking. You mentioned about being different. Like a few minutes back, you just mentioned that I knew that I was doing something different, but that's what I wanted to do because that feeds my soul.
Exactly.
So I believe in that philosophy very strongly, and that is this one song, of course. So it's Jodi to Dakshune keu na ashe, tobe ekla cholo re. So I that song gives me a lot of peace because it does tell me that there may be times when people will not understand you, but if you
Mm.
believe in yourself and if you choose your path which is different from others, and if you have the courage to walk through it, then go for it.
So I
So
would request you to sing that song, even though I know copyright is gone. But as we always know that people are sensitive about,
very
especially
sensitive
Tagore
about
songs.
reproduction.
So it's all on me. If anything goes wrong, I'll take the blame for it. If you could sing a few lines for that, please, or for the
I
audience.
will. I will try since you're taking all uh, the pain of
Yeah.
going through it. So যদি তোর ডাক শুনে কেউ না আসে তবে একলা চলো রে যদি তোর ডাক শুনে কেউ না আসে তবে একলা চলো রে একলা চলো একলা চলো একলা চলো একলা চলো রে তবে একলা চলো একলা চলো একলা চলো একলা চলো রে যদি তোর ডাক শুনে কেউ না আসে তবে একলা চলো রে
Beautiful. I mean, it's a true thing. Even what we have been discussing about, I think that resonate with everything that we have discussed so far. And
Yes.
we have um, kind of reached the end of this conversation as well. And I would like to thank you for staying with us this long. I mean, when we are doing this interview, it's quite late in Australia at the moment, but you have found the time for us.
It's not that late than we did the last interview.
In harmony with Esha. And that was a live show, I understand. That was very late. But and then you sang
It
such
was so much
amazing
fun though.
songs. But this conversation today, I mean, definitely, you know, one thing I've always realized, because artists and musicians or any form of art, people who are practicing, they have, as I was saying before, that they have this different world and they have this different philosophy that they follow. Probably not everyone, but most of the artists they follow. And I'm really have been privileged today, especially to have had this conversation with you. That I've learned
So
so
much.
much from
So
you.
much.
Really, Srijani, you have shed light on so many aspects of life, and I'm sure people would love this uh, podcast that I've done
I
with you.
hope so.
No, definitely they will.
I
So
I hope I haven't started any controversy.
I mean, the thing is that if people feel that that's the controversy, I think this is what we need to address. This is the problem, that
Truly.
we feel that we can't talk about these things. And this is where the problem lies. We always just suffer in isolation when no one can see. But we have this thing we can't even bring about, and there's no one to discuss about. And if you talk to someone, they're like, shh, don't talk about these things. It's off limits.
No, no, I'm very, very proud of you. I am conscious of the fact that we are almost reaching the end of it, but I'll just take 30 seconds to congratulate you for bringing all these aspects in front of us, because these are things that needs to be asked. These are things that we as individuals need to sit down and introspect that what we are doing. I will also encourage you to please raise this awareness in people if you can, from whatever you are doing, that to have an to have somewhere a balance between bad and worse.
Mm.
So please, if you can, because I also think that as an artist or as a creative person, we do have the responsibility towards catering the right thing. So it's like, today people are less hungry and they have more food on table. That's why they eat whatever they have in front of them, and their taste buds are so compromised that the good and bad has become the line has become extremely blurred. So if you're like as you are running this and you're doing such an amazing job,
Thank you, Srijani.
connecting people from different parts of life and world, and just you are making it possible that geographical distance doesn't matter, cultural difference doesn't matter, just come united. So keep doing this, and thank you for having me here. Please keep doing this, and please try and see if we can actually bring back the goods that are getting lost thanks to social media, and but not so thankful again. So if you can please help people to cater things that we grew up with. So the generation that we were, what we have been fed, and the generation that here it is today, what they are being fed, it's a very different diet. And if you can contribute what we had the taste of to at least even 10 individuals, I think even that can make a difference.
Very well said. As when we were growing up, when our parents or the generation before us were saying, "This is how you should do it," we didn't like it. So probably the millennials or the Generation Z or the new generation that's growing up, if you tell them this is how, if we give them the prescription, probably they won't subscribe to it too. But the thing is that through these discussions, people who are in the present moment, just bring them to think about their present and their reality and the time they're living in, just to connect with that time. I think if we can achieve that goal to a certain extent, I think what I'm trying to do through all the people like you, amazing people like you, I think that will be successful. Srijani, on that note, I'd like to thank you, because what you have said, how you have concluded, after that, there's nothing left for me to say. So thanks for being with us today, and hope to catch you again on a different show, different conversation, more music probably. So have a good day.
Keep them coming. Thank you. All right.
Thank you.
Thanks.